Welcome back to the Sports News Analysis YouTube page, where I'm previewing every game of Week 17 here in the NFL. So be sure to subscribe to my channel here to get all of my daily sports talk videos delivered to your inbox. And in a very key game in the NFC North, the Green Bay Packers will travel to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Green Bay comes in with a record of 11-4, having already clinched the NFC North, while Minnesota comes in with a record of 9-6, controlling their own destiny for a wild card playoff berth in the NFC. The Packers at 11-4 clinched the division, still have a lot to play for, because if they can beat Minnesota here in Week 17, they will then get the 2 seed in the NFC and get that all-important coveted bye in the first week of the playoffs. So the Packers still have plenty to play for. Going to Minnesota here. Minnesota 9-6 in what was probably their best win of the season last week on the road in Houston. Houston, the team that needed that game, and Minnesota went in there and took care of business. I think they got an unexpected, pretty good performance out of Christian Ponder, which I know I certainly didn't see coming. But he was the difference in the game because the Texans held Adrian Peterson under 100 yards in that game. These two teams met at the beginning of December. Green Bay won 23-14. Since then, each team has won their last 3 games. Green Bay has won 9 of their last 10 games. They're on an absolute roll. The Packers have developed a little bit of a running game the last couple weeks. They totally trounced the Titans last week at home. Now, the Packers are in a situation pretty similar to 2010 where they're getting a lot of their key players healthy at the right time, whether it's a Greg Jennings, whether it's a Clay Matthews, a Jordy Nelson, a Charles Woodson. You're going to see all these guys come back into the fold late in the season and in the playoffs as they make their push. And I think you're really seeing now Aaron Rodgers developing that rapport with Randall Cobb. Well, now you put Randall Cobb, Jermichael Finley, Greg Jennings, Jordy Nelson, and somewhat of a running game. And I think you might have the ingredients for a team that may be the NFC favorites heading into the playoffs. So this is what Minnesota is dealing with coming into this game. Minnesota, obviously, their offense starts and ends with Adrian Peterson. There's no denying that. Adrian Peterson went over 200 yards in the first meeting between these two teams, and the Vikings still lost. So I think, as in a lot of big games against good quarterbacks, I think they're going to need to get something out of Christian Ponder. Whether that's managing the game and not getting the big turnover or hitting a couple big plays. They need him to be productive. They can't beat good teams by just running Adrian Peterson and hoping he can put them on his back as he has all year. Peterson still has a chance. A pretty good chance to go over 2,000 yards for the season. We'll see how that plays out here. But I look for a key matchup to be that Green Bay passing attack versus the Minnesota secondary. And then obviously the Green Bay rush defense versus Adrian Peterson and the Vikings. If the Packers defense can get Christian Ponder in predictable pass situations, I think you're going to see, even more so than you saw at the beginning of December, the difference Clay Matthews can make in the passing, it can make in the pass rush department here in this game, and I think it'll be a big factor. So I think if you see the Vikings win, I think you see Peterson have a really good game, but Ponder make big plays, because I think the Vikings are going to need to score 24, 27 points to win this game. And they need to get something out of the passing department. I think for the Packers, they just need to do what they do. I think they're the far superior team. Unless the Packers, A, have unpredictable turnovers on special teams or allow big runbacks, or B, they just allow like another 200-plus yard game to Adrian Peterson and also have Ponder play good. I think those are the only real 2 situations I can see the Vikings pulling off this game, because it means so much to the Packers. I mean, getting that bye is a huge deal. And I know people are going to say, well, the Packers didn't get the bye in 2010 and they won the Super Bowl, and it did get the bye last year and lost in the divisional round. No team is thinking of that. Okay? Simple math says, do I want to only have to win 2 games to make it to the Super Bowl, or 3? Even though recent history showed us the wild card teams fare better, these teams would rather play 2 games to get to the Super Bowl than 3. And I don't think you'll see any less in the motivation department by the Packers. I like the Packers -3. on the road this week to beat the Vikings. I think it's been a great season for the Vikings, but I think they fall short of their end goal here and fall to the Packers. So I like Green Bay -3 on the road in Minnesota. Be sure to check out my other previews here. Subscribe to my page, and you can also catch me on Twitter @SNewsAnalysis. Thanks, guys.